Despite being the most magical place on Earth, Walt Disney World has its fair share of spooky attractions. The most famous, of course, is the Haunted Mansion, and then there's some defunct attractions like Alien Encounter, Snow White's Scary Adventure, and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But almost equally as famous as the Haunted Mansion has to be the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios. The attraction is easily one of the most iconic and beloved attractions at the park, taking guests into an episode of the Twilight Zone where they're dropped down and pulled up a haunted elevator. It's a fun ride, and a version of it exists in most Disney parks across the globe. 4 Tower of Terrors are operating today, but only Walt Disney World and Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris have the Twilight Zone theme. In 2017, Disney California Adventure's Tower of Terror was rethemed into Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, based on the characters from the Marvel film franchise. This ride was later integrated into the Avengers Campus Land at the same park, and it is well received despite replacing a classic attraction. Interestingly, Tokyo Disneyland also has a Tower of Terror, but it is not based on the Twilight Zone either, instead being an original story connected to the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, or SEA. The SEA storyline expands most Disney parks and includes rides such as the Jungle Cruise, Mystic Manor in Hong Kong, and even the Jungle Skipper Canteen restaurant in Walt Disney World. Despite Walt Disney World still having the Twilight Zone theming, there's a bit of a royalties issue going on between Disney and CBS, the owners of the Twilight Zone. Because of this, most of the new merchandise for the attraction does not mention the Twilight Zone, instead just depicting the Hollywood Tower Hotel logo and branding, thus avoiding royalties going to CBS. This had me thinking, how long will Disney continue to operate a ride based on a property they do not own? This was a popular thing for Disney parks to do way back when, with attractions like Rock 'n' Roller Coaster, Star Tours, and even Pandora the World of Avatar. But now Disney owns Lucasfilm and Fox, making Rock 'n' Roller Coaster and the Tower of Terror the only attractions left in Walt Disney World that are not based on Disney-owned IPs. I'd propose that not only will Disney indeed retheme the attraction to remove the Twilight Zone, I'd make an argument on why this could be a good thing. So for starters, the Twilight Zone is a very old show. It's iconic, classic, and still beloved to this day, but it's hard to deny that people born between the late 90s to today probably know very little, if anything, about the show. They did reboot it recently, hosted by famed director Jordan Peele, but it didn't quite break into pop culture the same way as Black Mirror, a similar show on Netflix. In addition, Disney has been utilizing the SEA much more lately. What began as a small string of references throughout the parks that only the most dedicated Disney fans would recognize, it's since become much more well known. In fact, a Disney Plus series is in the works based on SEA, and a movie set for theatrical release, and the two are actually not connected, they're completely original projects. Existing rides are also being updated with SEA references, such as the queue for Jungle Cruise in Walt Disney World. With this in mind, it would not be a bad idea to carry over the Tokyo Disneyland version of the Tower of Terror into Hollywood Studios, giving Florida parkgoers an opportunity to experience the SEA story. On top of all of this is the previously mentioned royalties issue. The new merchandise is nice, but it's a shame we don't have any new merchandise depicting the real name of the ride. At this point, I'd rather it be rethemed so it can operate unshackled. Now, I know there are many fans who would hate to see such a classic attraction altered. I know I was worried it would turn into Guardians of the Galaxy after Disney California Adventure's retheme. Don't get me wrong, I love Guardians of the Galaxy, but I wouldn't want our Tower of Terror changed to that. I'm more open to the Tokyo version, however, since it maintains a nearly identical creepy setting, just with an original story rather than one based on an IP. Disney fans have been begging for an original ride for almost 2 decades now. The last one Walt Disney World got was Expedition Everest in 2006. That's 16 years ago. For those reasons, I think removing the Twilight Zone theme from Hollywood Studios' Tower of Terror is not only okay, but it could also be a really great idea. But what do you think? Would you be okay with retheming the Tower of Terror? Also, how many versions of the Tower of Terror have you been on? Personally, I've only been to Walt Disney World, but I'm dying to ride the California and Tokyo versions someday. If you liked this spooky video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe for more content. We also have Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us there to never miss a new video. Thanks for watching and have a happy Halloween.